For this class, you're required to use the Firefox browser. JavaScript will work in other browsers. It will probably work the same, but there's good debugging tools based in Firefox. It's free, it works across platforms, and I can only really support one browser at a time because if you're having problems, I don't know if it's an idiosyncrasy of your browser if you're using something that I don't normally use. So you have to get yourself a copy of Firefox. It's linked up so you can download it. And what I want to do here is quickly go through some of the features that will be useful to you so we can see what's going on. What I have here is a variant of the page that we made in our little HTML tutorial. We just have our Click Me button. And what I want us to do is look at how we can use some of the debugging tools that are built into Firefox. This is going to be critical for you as we go through, because most of your code won't work the first time. There's going to be little errors in it, and you need help finding those. So let's do a little bit of JavaScript here. In this button, we're going to say on click equals, and then put some quotes, and inside the quotes we put JavaScript code, and we're going to do something really basic. We're going to say alert, open parentheses, and then I'm going to use a single quote. Since I have double quotes containing my JavaScript, I'll use a single quote on the inside so nothing gets confused. And it'll say hello, close my parentheses, put in a semicolon. So I'm going to add some spaces here. Everything inside the quotes, this line here, is JavaScript. And this just says open a window that says hello when the person clicks the button. So if we save that, we can reload our page here, click it, and there's our message. Everything works fine. So let's say you weren't paying attention and you didn't hear me say use single quotes and you use double quotes in here. You can tell by the color coding that something is wrong because it all of a sudden turns blue. And what's happening here is I start with double quotes to enclose everything that's with the on click, and when it gets to this double quote, it thinks that's closing it off, and so it tries to execute this JavaScript, which is totally incomplete, and then doesn't even know what the rest of this stuff is. So there's an error in the code. If we save this and reload and we try to click the button, nothing happens. Okay, so if you look at this, and lots of you will do this, you'll stare at your code for hours, you can't figure out what's wrong. You shouldn't stare at it for that long, by the way. So if it's not working, you can't figure it out, you want to use a debugging tool. So in Firefox, go to Tools, and then Web Developer, and Web Console. That's going to give you all kinds of information. The console will come up down here, and there's a bunch of different tabs. Click on the JavaScript tab, and reload your page. So nothing happened when we reload the page. That's good, because the JavaScript isn't executed until we click the button, and then click the button. Okay, so here's the error that we get. It says the character encoding was not declared. That's fine, that's not us. But here we have a syntax error, expected expression got end of script in html.html. Okay, so it's looking for an expression, and then everything just sort of ends. Now, you'll notice this says it's on line 10. It's not. Those line numbers are rarely correct. That's okay. You just kind of have to go with it. So if we fix that error and put our single quotes back in, save this. If we click clear, that'll get rid of our errors. Reload the page. We get the same that says we don't have this character encoding in our HTML document. That doesn't matter. And then we click the button. The hello works fine. And that's it. No error appears down here. All right, let's try one more. Let's say, this is kind of typo I make all the time. Instead of typing alert, you typed lret. That's not a command that JavaScript knows, so that'll give us an error. So we'll come back to our browser. We'll clear the console, reload the page. We know to ignore that. And when we click the button, we get reference error. Lret is not defined. So that's an error. It says, I don't know what that command is that you're trying to give me. And again, the line numbers aren't correct. It has 1 and 4, which is not where it is. But whatever, we can go back there and see that that's what our error is. So this error console is going to be a critical tool for you to figure out what's going on in your code when it's not working. It's not perfect, no debugger is, but it's much more valuable than trying to work without one, which you'd have to do in a lot of other browsers. So play around with it, get familiar with Firefox, make sure you find this tool in there because we're going to use it all semester.